Hi there, Max here from Max's Cake Studio. So today I'm going to show you how I make a very quick, very simple fondant rose. So first of all you'll need some water and a paintbrush, a small rolling pin, a palette knife, a veining tool, some cornflour, a petal cutter. Now this is my 1.5 inch size petal cutter and today I've chosen some pink fondant. So first of all, break a little piece of the fondant off, and this is what you're going to make your centerpiece from. So just roll it in the palm of your hands and taper it at one end, and then roll it into a point, and it will end up looking like a teardrop, something like that. Put that to one side, and then take the rest of the fondant and work it. Put a little bit of cornflour on the board and on top of the fondant to stop it from sticking. Roll it out and move it as you're rolling it, and then you need to roll this to approximately 1 mm thick, like that. Now take your petal cutter. You'll need 10 petals for this flower. I cut out 12 because I like to allow a couple of spares just in case any of the petals rip or tear. Then remove the excess and put that to one side, and to make it easier, put a row of 2, a row of 3 and a row of 5 petals. Take the first petal and with the V at the bottom, using your thumb and finger, smooth out the edges of the petals and thin them down. So you need to use about 2/3 of the way around, so thin it and smooth them about 2/3 of the way around. You don't need to do all the petal because the bottom bit will be getting cut off later. Then once you've smoothed them out and thinned them out, get your bud and reshape it into a point if you need to, and take your water and then just cover the very end of the centerpiece with water, and this is what's going to stick your first and second petal. Then place the centerpiece in the middle of the petal and roll the petal right back around, almost touching itself again, and it will be almost in a point and look something like that. Then take a little bit of water and place it on top of the petal that you've just put on, and then stick the petal on almost touching the other petal and into a point at the top so they slightly overlap, and then roll the edge of the petal in a downward motion, pulling it a little bit tight to get the point of the rose, and then stick it down with a little bit of water, and then shape it on the end until you're happy with the way it looks, like the centre of a rose, and it'll be something like that. And then where the join is, take a little bit of water and get your first petal from your row of 3 and stick it on about 1/3 of the way, and then take a little bit more water and put your second petal on, again sticking it about 1/3 of the way around, and then a little bit more water, put your third petal on, and then pull it all the way around back on to the first petal, and then get your finger and thumb and just squeeze it in gently in the middle, turning it as you go to stick all the petals down, and then get the edge of the petal and gently with your thumb and finger roll the edges of the petal to make them look like an opening flower. This gives it a much more realistic look. So just keep going round and gently with your finger and thumb roll them over and you will start to see it looking like an opening flower. Keep going until you're happy with it, and then just gently roll it to get the roundness back, and it will look something like that. Now you can just use those if you just need a small flower, those are ideal. I'm going to add another layer to make this a bigger flower. So where the join is again, a little bit of water, get your first petal from your row of 5, stick it on, about a third of the way in again, a little bit more water, as you go just gently pushing them down to make sure they are sticking on and they're not going to fall off, and each time just sticking them about a third of the way around and using a little bit of water. And when I say a little bit, do only use a little bit of water, otherwise if the petals are too wet you'll find they're really slidey and very difficult to manage. So when you get to your 5th petal you should be back to where the first petal starts, and again a little bit of water just to stick that down again, and then get your finger and thumbs again gently pinching and squeezing in the centre to stick them all together. And then what I do is I take my finger and thumb, I roll over the edges of the petal whilst at the same time pushing it into a little point. So you're rolling and pushing, and this gives it a really realistic look like an actual petal. And then get your veining tool, and you can use the edge of your veining tool to help you separate any petals that have stuck together, and then just keep moulding and shaping all the petals, making sure they're not stuck together, and that will make it look much nicer. Then just roll it with your fingers to give it the rounded shape back again, because you'll find that as you're working with it they'll sometimes slightly lose their shape, and then gently pinch the edges of the petals and roll them. Now you will find there's a lot of excess on the bottom. All you need to do is pinch it and squeeze it in the middle and break it off and put it to one side, and then just do a final check of it. And then what I do is get my palette knife, slice it on an angle so it's ready to be positioned on the cake. And there you have a very quick, very easy fondant rose that looks really pretty on any cake. I do hope you've found this tutorial helpful and useful, and thank you very much for watching. If you do like this video, please subscribe. Bye bye.